and development. As you may be aware, the African continent is home to about 17.89% of the world's population, and it has about 600 million of its people without access to electricity.
Former Master President, let me help you. Just go direct. I say Nigeria, this population and Nigeria you are talking about. Just say direct, just go direct, just dey talk. I dey feel you, I dey enjoy your speech, but what I want to hear, just go direct. This one you are just going around the bush, around the corner, enter here. You're like you are just driving side by side, so that this beef go sweet.
With a staggering 98% in sub-Saharan Africa and another 940 million people lacking access to clean cooking fuels and technologies.
Yeah, Nigerians are lack for so many. They are lacking having access to light, cooking, sliver. Oh, they are lack. You know, say they are using electricity to cook in Ghana. You know, Nigerians are lack for those things. Hey, this man president don't finish Nigerians, so he don't finish Nigerians. So you say Nigerians they are lack.
This calls for bold and decisive policies by continental leaders and pooling resources together if the continent is to achieve the Sustainable Development Goal number 7, which aims to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy by the year 2030. World energy politics and the role of Nigeria. By its size, economic power, and population alone, Nigeria can be described as a natural continental economic leader and powerhouse in Africa.
Now you come out boldly and say it and talk. With this number of populations, you know, population now, Nigeria na vanity of vanity, na just population. And that population is nothing from nothing to nothing. That is that population. It's a big decrease. Now you don't come out and call you out now. From now going, you have to listening to everything from now to the end, so that you can understand what he's trying to, the point that he's trying to make. Stay tuned.
When we look more specifically at the country's energy resources, such as its oil, gas, and other minerals, Nigeria has the unique opportunity and the potential to achieve energy security and sufficiency for itself and indeed the entire West African sub-region. Today, our world is at a crossroads of what has become known as the energy trilemma. That is sustainability, energy security, and affordability. Already, many Western countries have taken the path of transitioning to renewable energy, primarily because of the factor of climate change, and partly due to global geopolitical tensions. As a result, most sub-Saharan African countries are at the high risk of having stranded assets in petroleum reserves and infrastructure. Nigeria and sub-Saharan Africa must address the critical question about which energy pathway we intend to adopt. Are we to take a path of a wholesale transition by capping our oil and gas wells, or must we adopt a customized energy transition that prioritizes climate justice, wealth creation, and inclusive growth? This is a critical question we need to answer.
Who is going to answer the question? Our leaders, or we, the youth of Nigeria, or you on the comment sections? Someone to answer the question. If you're listening to what he said, please. Then we'll move on.
And sub-Saharan Africa, especially West African sub-region, is looking up to our big brother Nigeria to make this decision. And this is the moment Nigeria must show leadership in the global politics of energy. Ghana's power sector has evolved over the years with the first power plant, the Akosombo hydroelectric dam, which currently produces 1,020 megawatts capacity, constructed under our nation's first president, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, in 1967. In 1982, the Pong hydroelectric power station was commissioned, and this increased Ghana's installed hydro generation capacity by another 160 megawatts. Although the Akosombo and Pond dams were designed to provide adequate electricity generation into the foreseeable future, Ghana suffered its first power crisis in 1984, following a severe drought, disrupting the generational capacity of the two hydro dams. And despite the commissioning of the third hydro dam, a 400 megawatt Bui hydroelectric power dam in 2013, the power supply remained erratic and unreliable. With increasing energy demand coupled with unpredictable hydrology, dependence on the country's hydro potential as the sole source of electricity has proved untenable. And therefore, a decision was taken to diversify the nation's generation mix by introducing thermal power and other forms of energy to augment the hydro capacity from the 1990s. To realize this objective and to resolve a crippling energy crisis, and as our compare said, it's popularly called Dumso in Ghana. Dum means off, so means on. So it means off and on. That's a literal translation of Dumso. I don't know how you say it in Nigeria, but I remember when I was here, it says, NEPA don't take power.
Music calling NEPA, bring the light. Let me follow and sing the music. NEPA, bring the light. That means your mama even know more about Nigeria. That is funny. Okay, let's continue.
Yeah. As a result of this crisis, and I was president then, I led the fastest mobilization of thermal power in the history of Ghana, mobilizing about 1,000 megawatts of emergency thermal power to the country's generation mix by the time I left office in 2017. Mindful of the need to attain fuel supply security and reliability while addressing environmental concerns, the government of Ghana initiated various policy measures to ensure that the country derives maximum benefits from its newly discovered oil and gas resources by ushering in what we called the gas to power era. This was evidence in the establishment of the Ghana National Gas Development Task Force to review and propose approaches to ensure full utilization of the country's gas resources through a gas commercialization project in 2009. And this culminated in the completion of the $1 billion Etuabo gas processing plant in 2015, and is located at Etuabo in the Elembele district of the Western region to process, transport, and market Ghana's domestic natural gas from Ghana's Jubilee and 10 fields to meet domestic and industrial needs of the country. Following the discovery of additional gas resources in the offshore Cape 3 Points area in 2009, we decided to leverage the World Bank and other partners to undertake the US $7.7 billion Sankofa natural gas project by constructing an integrated offshore oil and gas processing plant to supply additional gas capable of generating 1,100 megawatts of thermal power. You're welcome, Your Excellency. These policy interventions have resulted in domestic gas accounting for about 82% of Ghana's thermal requirements and 40% of domestic LPG supply. So it means that in Ghana, almost 80% of all electricity is generated using liquid natural gas. The other 20% continues to rely on fossil fuels. So the plan going forward is to be able to cover the total generation with liquid natural gas 100% before the year 2030. The decision to switch to gas as an alternative to light crude oil has undoubtedly resulted in increased fuel supply and reliability and significant cost savings for the country. For instance, in 2022, 107.65 billion scf of gas was exported from Ghana's oil-producing fields for power generation and industrial consumption. This is equivalent to 200 This is equivalent to 20.45 million barrels of crude oil. And so if we're not using natural gas, we'd have had to buy 20.45 million barrels of light crude oil to generate electricity. The cumulative savings from switching from light crude to gas is estimated at 1.34 billion. It means that if Ghana was continuing to use light crude oil instead of natural gas, we would have had to spend $1.54 billion over the period. As a result of these policy decisions, which undeniably has not been an easy journey, it may interest you to know that Ghana currently has enough dependable generation capacity at 5,454 megawatts. And so the current doomsaw that we're going through is not because we don't have the generation capacity, it's because we don't have enough fuel to be able to meet the demand. And so current generation capacity stands at 5,454 megawatts both for domestic consumption, and Ghana currently exports power to neighboring Togo, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, and Benin within the framework of ECOWAS cooperation. I'll touch a bit on the West African power pool in a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, on the local front, an aggressive rural electrification policy launched in 2009 increased electricity access rates in Ghana from 60.8% to over 80% in 8 years. The solid foundation we laid has resulted in an impressive 88.5% current access rate. It means that 88.5% of Ghanaians have access to electric power. And Ghana is on course to achieve universal access to electricity at the target date. Policy reforms have equally been at the center stage of our energy sector, with power sector reform dating back to the early 1990s by the Ghanaian government, resulting in the creation of an Energy Commission in 1997 as a technical regulator of electricity, natural gas, and renewable energy industries. And also the formation of the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission in the same year provides guidelines for tariffs and charges on public utility services, especially water and electricity. More importantly, we have unbundled the vertically integrated Volta River Authority, and I'm sure you would have heard about this. They are the managers of the Akosombo hydroelectric power station. But they also controlled the national electric grid. And so we unbundled it and made them concentrate on power generation. And then we formed Gridco, which is responsible for all the transmission lines in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, despite the remarkable success chalked over the years, increasing demand for electricity to satisfy domestic use and export and gas supply constraints is beginning to pose significant challenges, threatening the nation's power supply reliability as demand continues to increase. It's estimated that demand increases between 10 and 12% every year. And so it means that you must always plan ahead, both in terms of having access to enough fuel and also putting in the generation capacity to be able to meet that demand. Since the beginning of the year, power supply reliability has been erratic, largely due to the inability of the current government to expand and increase the gas infrastructure to meet the rising demand. This therefore calls for very serious policy rethinking if we are to resolve this current challenge. And that's why the compare said that doomsaw is back. This year we've been suffering a lot of power outages in Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, with the 2024 elections around the corner, my party has proposed to declare 2025 as an accelerated age of oil and gas production should we win the elections. Natural gas will be the central area of focus for us, for our future. Private partners such as the Chamber of Upstream Producers of Ghana have already declared their commitment to invest in natural gas exploration and production with the needed government support. Let me use this opportunity to invite potential investors in Nigeria, when it comes to oil and gas production, you are big brothers, and I know you have more expertise than us. And so I use this occasion to invite potential investors from Nigeria to invest in Ghana's hydrocarbon potential. Let me also commend Nigeria for its leadership in the implementation of the West African Gas Pipeline Company, WAPCO, which has played a critical role in Ghana's energy future. Following on the success of the West African Gas Pipeline Company model, I firmly believe that we can replicate the model in the downstream petroleum sector for our mutual benefit. The future of Sub-Saharan African development greatly depends on the success story of Nigeria's energy sector. I wish to call on Nigeria to lead the politics of energy resources in Africa. On this note, there is an urgent need for Ghana and Nigeria to deepen our economic and technical cooperation in harnessing and developing our energy resource potential for energy security and reliability as a catalyst for industrialization, job creation, and equitable wealth distribution for the entire West African sub-region. The establishment of the West African Power Pool, which I talked about just a while ago, the wholesale market presents an excellent opportunity for energy integration in West Africa. Ghana has already constructed a high voltage electricity transmission network that connects us to Togo, Benin, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Cote d'Ivoire. So it makes it possible for us to evacuate excess power into the grid for export to any of these countries. The critical step left is the synchronization of the entire West African Power Pool interconnected transmission system, which includes a link with the Nigerian system and also a connection to Niger and the northern parts of Togo and Benin. This will undoubtedly create a great opportunity for ECOWAS countries, especially notably Nigeria, because Nigeria has the potential to have excess power that it can put into the West African Power Pool for use by other countries that have a deficit. So notably, Nigeria with vast resources and available generation capacity to trade in the regional electricity markets will be an advantage for our sub-region. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, with our rich historical ties, the two countries of Ghana and Nigeria must urgently lead the process of realizing a fully liberalized and interconnected energy market in West Africa, to which energy sources, especially gas and electricity, can be easily traded amongst ourselves. Finally, the energy sector is the foundation for economic growth. Nigeria must take the leadership mantle to build a regional consensus that will provide a more promising future for Africa. African leaders must define their energy transition modalities and choose the most equitable, just transition. Nigeria has what it takes to lead the path for sub-Saharan Africa to advance our collective energy agenda by engaging its neighbors, such as Ghana, to achieve the delivery of reliable, affordable, and sustainable energy for the whole sub-region. I thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Hey, Nigeria, Ghana, they don't already tell you the country where Ghana they supply light. Do I even need to talk again? Just leave in the message on the comment sections. Tell me what you think. The former president of Ghana don't already analyze everything to you to know. I don't need to say anything. They don't open Nigeria. Yes, Nigeria cannot do anything. Hey, disgrace. Okay, thank you. If you love what I'm doing, subscribe and leave your comment behind. Tell me what you feel about the video. If you want to reach out to me, look at my bio. My WhatsApp number is there. Thank you. God bless you. My name is Master Manager Nigerian News, and I just want to say bye bye for now. Thank you.